Morning, Steve. I gave you the heads up Saturday that I was going to ask you about this. Because I knew you were pretty outspoken on the topic of 20 league games and wanting to reduce it to 18. We see in the Winter League meetings that we're staying at 20. I wondered what your take on was that. And were the coaches not heard enough in this regard?
I mean, I don't think that's the case. I mean, I spoke to my athletic director about it, John Curry. I talked to Paul about it with the ACC. So I don't think that. I mean, for me personally, I don't think that's the case. And again, this is my opinion, okay? And I think we have to look at the way the tournament is being viewed and how our league is being viewed through the net. And this is the only reason why I would say we need to go to 18 games is because it's become pretty obvious that non-league performance is the most important factor when you're going to set your net, okay? And it's based upon either winning. You got two ways of looking at it: quad one, quad two games, or blowing out quad threes and fours, and then producing these sky-high efficiencies on offense and defense. I mean, I think the net pretty much discounts conference play, which we all know is a lot harder and more important to our players and our fans. But I think playing 18 non-league games gives us the flexibility to schedule two more, non-league games to start ACC league play after Christmas. That gives the ACC team, it gives our teams the opportunity to set our net a lot higher, what I would call based upon strategic scheduling. Meaning, again, you could schedule one or two more quad 1-2 games, or you could schedule games to improve your efficiencies versus quad 4. The one thing you got to do, and people need to understand in scheduling, you have to avoid quad 3 games because we get no credit for it. And those games are really hard to win and improve your efficiencies. And I'll give you us as an example. Our quad 3 wins today are Syracuse, Miami, Towson, Georgia Tech, Boston College, and Rutgers. And we're not going to get any credit for that? Come on. And so it's like you can put your head in the sand and you can say, well, we'll just keep doing what we're doing. But it's not working. We've had 5 bids with the net in 20 games, and the net 22-23, 5 bids, 21-22, 5 bids, 2021, 7. But before that, with the RPI, in 17-18, we had 9 bids, 16-17, 9 bids, 15-16, 7 bids. I don't know. I think we need to change, but and I just think it's a shame that our leagues have gotten so big that it's hard to manage that many teams with a metric like the net.
Go next to Jerry DePaula.
Good morning, Steve. It seems like the winner of this game tomorrow night is going to be on the positive side of the NCAA tournament bubble, if you're not there already. Is that something you talk about with your team at all, or do you see your guys talking about it at all?
No, Jerry, I just think it's because it's a really big game because we're playing a really good team. We could be on the positive side on Wednesday and then be off of it on Thursday. I mean, you just have to play these games one at a time. And I'll give you guys all a great example, Jerry. Utah is a loss for us. They're at 50 today on a neutral, so they could be 1 or 2. Florida's 28. They could be 1 or 2. Rutgers had 1-4 in a row. They're at 89. They could go up to 75. Miami's 79. They could be 75. Virginia's 41. They could be 30. NC State's 75. So we have 2 wins, a win and a loss on the cut line. Georgia Tech's 141. They got to be 135. See my point? I don't know. I just think you got to win. And I think it's most important that, we just concentrate on playing a team that's won 5 games in a row and won games at Duke and Virginia's 5-2 on the road, playing really well, shoot the 3, take care of the ball, rebound the ball. Henson's playing at All-American level. Carrington and Lowe are 2 of the better freshmen in the league, like I said before, are in the country. And Leggett and Austin are good players, and Federico. So I think we got to talk more about that than where we're at with what some bracketologist says we're at.
Are they playing better than the first time you met them?
Well, I'm sure they are. I mean, that was the first win of 5, right? So they're playing with more and more confidence. And I thought they were playing pretty well when we played them. And so we're going to catch a really, tough team here at home. And, hey, that's what you want to do right now. We've played, we just finished Had a hard game with NC State, won it. Had to go to Duke and Virginia back to back. Now we got Pitt. Now we got Duke. These are the opportunities that we want this late in the year so we can play our way in and play our way to the double bye, which I think is really important in the league tournament.
Thank you.
Connor O'Neill, go ahead.
Steve, when you evaluate a shooter like Blake Hinson, who seems to make the tough shots, is it any different of a scout when you're saying it doesn't matter how much you contend him or contest shots?
Well, you try to limit his touches the best you can, but that's hard to do. They do creative ways to get him the ball. He's going to make some. He's going to make some tough ones. You just got to try to limit it, the best that you can. He's as good a tough shot making player as I've seen in a while. Maybe Fletcher McGee, Mike had at Wofford. He was an incredible player that could make tough threes like that. I've seen him do some things against at Duke, at Virginia. I was just like, you're not going to win when they do that. They just played at a high level. And credit to Blake, for continuing from his journey. I believe from Ole Miss, Iowa State to Pitt. He's a great story, and he's playing at a really high level. He plays with a lot of confidence, and I think their team feeds off his confidence.
And if I could switch gears on a follow-up, the last 10 games, like the 6 road ones, I think the 3-point percentage is 24%. The 4 that have been at home are 50%. Is it as simple as you guys are just more confident at home and more comfortable there?
I don't think so. I mean, that's probably some of it, Connor. I think some of it's taking the right ones at the right time. Who's taking them, under pressure. I'd have to go back and study all those, which I haven't. But, I see this team every day. I know how well we can shoot it, but at the end of the day, you got to go out and do it. You can talk about it all you want, but, you got to go out and you got to get it done.
Go to Cam Lemons-DeBro.
Morning, Steve. It feels like you've been trying to test out a few different lineups with Parker kind of being in there for Boopy, Damari kind of getting in there for Carr. Do you think Damari's kind of turned that corner a little bit to play a little bit more of a 3, to be quite honest, to give you a little bit more flexibility? And how do you feel like that the makeup of your team is just going to handle that down the stretch?
Well, you hope. If you watch the film against Pitt, he definitely shown that he couldn't do it because Blake Hinson drove around him twice and laid it up. I think he's getting in better and better shape. I think he's feeling a little bit more confident on his knee. He's not close. I mean, it's not close, I'd say, to 100%. I mean, I talked to him yesterday in the office, and, he's still hurt, but he's fighting through it. It's nice to have him in there. I thought Andrews played awesome for us all year long. I just thought Damari was playing a little better at the time and maybe gave us a chance to make a 3, can get it off quick. Parker's played well. He could play for any 3 of those guys, isn't necessarily Boopy. He shoots it. He's a ball mover, and he's a good defender. And so it's nice to have those guys that can do those things and play those positions and give us depth.
And if I could follow up a little bit, just, the Pitt was the first time you mentioned, struggling in the second half against teams, and you said it wasn't just one person. What is it going to take over the next 6 days for you guys to kind of reverse that fortune of having, especially on the offensive side, just not being able to get it done?
What you said? I don't remember talking about the second half. But
yeah, against Pitt, you had mentioned that they scored almost 50 points in the second half essentially.
Oh, but sometimes it's different things, different games. I mean, that game was I thought it was offensive rebounds in the second half. They didn't have any points off offensive rebounds, and they got 8. They got to the free throw line way more than we did. And then they scored transition. And I think those 3 things have been pretty – if you look at any team, and especially our team, if we don't play well in the second half or first half, it's because those 3 things we probably didn't do very well. And, we can't foul. And so I think, that's a common theme for the rest of the year. I mean, it's like there's no magic wand here to say, okay, we're going to put some pixie dust on this thing and fix it. I don't know. I mean, we lost to Duke and Virginia. A lot of teams are going to do that. And so we got to stay focused on where we're going and not where we've been. and get better. And we do. We practice hard every day, get the game plan into the game, and get ready to play Pitt.
One last quick one in from Chris Clark.
This one under the wire, Coach Forbes here. You got a guy on your team from Gaithersburg, ACC tournaments going back to DC in your travels, not just here, but in previous stops. What is it about those DC guys that you like to have on your team?
Tough. I mean, when you play pickup ball in DC and Baltimore, if you don't win, you sit down, you don't get to play no more. There's no Gatorade being handed out and, a power bar. Okay, go sit your butt over there for an hour and hope you get the court back. And if you do, you better win, because if you don't get to play. And one of the greatest things about DC be more is, when I've been into some of those, I've been to Cecil Kirk a few times in Baltimore, they don't play out of bounds. Ball goes off the wall, goes in the stands, go get it. I like it. I just think basketball is important to them. Tough. And just know how to play basketball and play to win.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep.
Steve, thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. Thank you.
See you soon.